It's me and my plant again, and here we are on week 2 of biology. And I just wanted to recap a couple of the ideas about photosynthesis and cellular respiration from the Breathing Why Bother assignment. You guys did fantastic on it. I was very impressed. Those of you who did the assignment did a really good job, and I hope got a lot out of it. I just want to nail home a couple of ideas. I want to review photosynthesis, so let's do that real quickly here. Okay, I have my plant. The plant, as we said, is a producer, and producers make their own food using the energy of the sun. And we have some beautiful late afternoon sun here. You can see it reflecting off my hand as well as off the plant. Okay, so what does a plant need to carry out photosynthesis? You may have even learned this in grade school, but let's go over it one more time. Atmosphere, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So the carbon dioxide comes in to the plant, and you saw in the movie the little holes through which the plant gets the carbon dioxide. And also some water. I'm going to pour a little water into this plant. So we've got carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. We've got water. And what else do we need? Well, we need that late afternoon sun, that sunlight. We need the energy from that sunlight. So the plant carries out photosynthesis using carbon dioxide, water, and energy, and that energy comes from the sun. And those, we said, are the reactants in photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a chemical reaction, and the reactants are what go into a chemical reaction. Then we use an arrow to show that the chemical reaction takes place. So we have what goes into the chemical reaction, and then an arrow to show the chemical reaction taking place. And on the other side of that arrow, what do we have? Well, we have the products. Now, we said the whole purpose of photosynthesis is for a plant to make food, and that food is in the form of glucose. And in the chemical bonds of that glucose, there is energy. So the plant takes energy from the sun and transforms it into the energy in the chemical bonds of glucose. And what else is produced? Well, as a result of it, the plant also gives off the gas oxygen. So again, we've got carbon dioxide, water, and the energy of the sun going in. And what comes out is glucose, food in the form of glucose, and then this gas oxygen that the plant gives off. Alrighty, so that's photosynthesis. It happens only in producers like this plant, and this week you'll learn about some other types of producers that aren't plants. Now let's talk about cellular respiration. And for the purposes of our discussion, this plant will be our representative producer, and I will be our representative consumer. So this plant makes food using the energy of the sun. It makes glucose. I get my food by consuming it, by eating other organisms, whether they be plants or animals. Ultimately, basically, the body turns a lot of that into glucose. So we've got glucose in this plant, we've got glucose in me. But here's the problem. Our cells can't really use glucose directly. Our cells have to break the bonds of glucose and release that energy in order to do their work, whether it be movement, growth, reproduction, all the chemical reactions that happen in cells. All of that requires energy. And in order to get that energy, we have to break the bonds of glucose. That's what cellular respiration is all about. It's about breaking the bonds of glucose and releasing the energy inside. So, cellular respiration, the reactants, what is required? What goes on the reactant side of the arrow is energy in the form of glucose. Okay, so we have the chemical glucose, and there's energy in the chemical bonds there. It's not in a form we can use yet. That's what cellular respiration is going to do. We need one more thing for cellular respiration, and that is oxygen. That gas allows us to release the energy in the chemical bonds of glucose and carry out cellular respiration. So we need, for cellular respiration, oxygen and glucose. And this is true. Cellular respiration happens in this plant, it happens in me, it happens in all living things, no matter where they got that glucose from. Okay, so where's our arrow here? So this goes in, energy and oxygen. And then we have this arrow that shows a chemical reaction. And on the other side of it, what comes out of the chemical reaction is, of course, energy that the cells can use. So energy for all of our life processes like growth, reproduction, development, all those things. We get energy. We get energy, and also as a result of it, but not as important, carbon dioxide is released and water. So the products of cellular respiration, the things that are made, are energy, and that energy is for life processes, carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide and water are like the byproducts. They are like the exhaust in your car again. The important thing is the energy that we get out of this process. Okay, so here's one thing that I want to point out. As I was discussing this, I only needed to make 2 cards. Energy in the form of glucose and oxygen. And these are the products, of course, of photosynthesis. But if you think about it, they're also the reactants of cellular respiration. The plant makes glucose and releases oxygen. Both the plant and me and you and all living things take that glucose, take oxygen, and use the oxygen to release the energy in the chemical bonds of glucose. What comes out of cellular respiration? Well, carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Now, in the case of cellular respiration, it's the energy for all the work that the cells do in your body. So it's energy for all your life processes. But let's look at this card. This is exactly what we used when we first started talking about photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide, water, and energy, except in the form of sunlight, are used for photosynthesis. So this is what came out of cell respiration, but it's what goes into photosynthesis. So the products of cellular respiration are the reactants of photosynthesis. Just like we said, the products of photosynthesis, glucose and oxygen, are the reactants of cellular respiration. Okay, so I've talked a lot, but really important points. First of all living things do cellular respiration. And the reason we need that oxygen is so that we can release the energy in the chemical bonds of glucose and use that for all of the work that our cells do. So the answer to why do we need oxygen is yes, sure, it's so that we live, so that we can breathe. All of those things are correct, but now that you're a sophisticated biology student, now you can say, I know exactly why I need oxygen. I need oxygen for cellular respiration. I need oxygen so I can release the energy in the chemical bonds of glucose. And my cells can use that energy then for all the things that they do. So that's a really important point. I want you to understand exactly why we need that oxygen. And the bottom line is we need it for cellular respiration so that we can release the energy in glucose and get energy for our cells to do work. Okay, I've talked way too long here probably, but I just wanted to make sure that you got these ideas. They're really important. Have a great week. I'm looking forward to seeing more work from you. Bye-bye now.